Okay. Now can you hear me? I didn't plug my microphone in. Because I'm dumb. Hello. Wow, you guys got in here so fast. Yep. Okay, good. I feel like everyone's popped in here really fast. I was expecting Judith because we were just messaging each other, so I figured she saw that I was going on and was probably like anticipating me getting on. But hi, Katie. Or Kitty. Whatever. Kitty. Hi, Judith. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Diana. It was on the phone. He was on the phone. You were on the phone when it popped up. Nice. You're the notification group on Twitter or on Twitter or on YouTube. Either way, I'm really flattered. Oh my gosh, you guys have me on notification. Stop, I'm embarrassed. Hi, Lizzie. How are you doing? If you hit the bell icon, you get notified when a video is posted or a live stream starts. Okay, so on YouTube, because I know you can follow people on Twitter as well, so whenever they tweet, you get a message. I wasn't sure if any of you have that going either. Because I did tweet a few minutes ago being like, I'm getting ready for a live stream. Okay, sorry. My friend is texting me. Okay. Oh, jeez. That is always the first question. How is your daughter, Elizabeth? Are you at the hospital currently? Is always the second. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Any of you who are mothers, I don't know how you do it. I was talking to my sister today, and she was, like, telling me, like, what an utter, like, crap show her day was today. Like, just, like, her whole family woke up late. They had to scramble to get out the door, and then her kid has an ear infection, and her other kids, she, like, got a call from school, and her daughter had, like, spilled milk on herself, so she had to, like, bring her new pair of clothes, and she, like, was teaching a class, like, an exercise class, and she was, like, all this stuff, and it was, like noon when she texted me, and she's like, my day's been great, how's yours? And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how moms do it, but mothers out there be ballin'. I don't know. And then, like, especially with, like, extra things on top of that, like, I'm impressed you're functioning. You're pretty good. You're home. Okay, that's good. Hi, Melody. A day in the life. And I don't know. I can't understand. And she was, I don't know. And my sister hasn't, like, slept in, like, 3 days because she's had like, really late nights every night. One of them due to me from us talking the other night and stuff. And it's just, like, it's been a lot. And yet she keeps on persevering. Amazing. I don't think I've mentioned recently, but I love you guys so much. You guys are the best. You were trying to read and falling asleep when you got this notification. Aren't you on the East Coast? Aren't you in Florida? It's so early. It's such an early night. Oh my gosh. Me too, Lizzie. Everyone's so nice and amazing and just the best ever. It kills me. I'm eating Whoppers, by the way. I went to Walmart. Chris was like, I went out to dinner with some friends. I went out to dinner with some friends, and it was like right next to Walmart, and Chris was like, can you stop at Walmart and buy warheads for my brother-in-law for his stocking? And I was like, yeah, sure. And since I was in the candy aisle looking at warheads, and I was like, well, the Whoppers are right there. The White Headhunter. That sounds unpleasant. That's okay. We've only been going for a couple minutes, and my my audio wasn't even working for the first minute or two, so you haven't missed anything. But welcome, Libby. Elizabeth is currently reading and has it marked as to read of 2 different editions. In case you didn't know, you have 2 editions on your shelf. Whoops. That seems like that would be something, like, unpleasant to read about. Basing and judging totally off of the title. Judith, why are you wrapping gifts? I thought your family didn't celebrate Christmas. Do they? Or do they just not celebrate birthdays? I'm confused. I thought you didn't celebrate Christmas. So you only got a little bit of sleep. Of course you did. You're in the recliner, just tired. Your family doesn't, but Morgan's family does. Okay. Because I was, like, gonna say, I'm like, I didn't wish you Merry Christmas. In the note I sent you, and I was like, should I have? I'm confused now. I was up until 3 a.m. last night, wrapping gifts for my nieces and nephews. Because I got them, I don't know. I got 8 of my nieces and nephews 2 little presents each. So I had to wrap all of those. And then my other nieces and nephews, I already got them their presents and sent them to them like a few weeks ago. And then my last niece, we're going to be spending Christmas with her, so those presents are already wrapped. But actually I remembered one more that I have to wrap, and I need to get on that. So, there was a lot of wrapping to do still. Katie! I did get your Christmas gift. I guess it's going up on the vlog that, like, when it goes up in a couple days. But I did get it, and I'm very excited. And I've been, Katie sent me a tongue scraper and some essential oils, and I'm so excited about the tongue scraper. And I was like, I opened it, and I was like, at first I didn't know what it was, and I was like, oh, it's a tongue scraper. And I was like, I literally was thinking about buying one of these like last week and was like literally looking for one in the store and almost bought one. And then you sent me one and I was like, good thing I didn't. And then I was like, Chris, you should use this. And he's like, I'm not going to use that. That's so gross, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, don't be ridiculous. That's like saying, I'm not going to use the same fork as you. Just wash it in between. And then we can use the same tongue scraper. I was like, don't be silly. I'm not going to use the same fork as you because you put it in your mouth. Anyway, I'm excited. Those lip balm are so cute. Oh, from the vlog. I was like, how did you know I got them lip balm? Oh yeah, I just put my entire life online. It's fine. Hi, Tamara. I haven't seen you in forever. How are you doing? The Alice in Wonderland book? Did I never reply to you about that? Lizzie, is that what you're talking about? Or did you send me another book? Because if you sent me another book, I definitely didn't get it. But if you're talking about the Alice in Wonderland, I did get it. And it's on my Alice shelf. Where it belongs. And that was so sweet of you to send that. Did I never thank you for that? Am I the most garbage person in the whole world? I'm so bad. Thank you. Yes, I love it. And that was so sweet to send it. She sent this like really cool like vintage copy of Alice. It's like super like beat up and well loved, and it's really pretty. You are the best, Katie. You're the literal best. It was like so weird when I opened that because I was like, I almost bought one like 3 days ago. It was so funny. And Chris is like, what is that? He's like, I don't even know what a tongue scraper is. Oh, thanks. I'm liking it. I like it when it's darker, but it keeps like fading to like a bright orange, and I'm not down with that. But I just redyed it, so it's like a nice like cherry-ish color right now, and I'm a bigger fan of that. I'm not a fan of this. What is that though? Okay, that's better. That's better. Yeah, I've been having fun with it. I miss the white hair, but I do like the dark like purpley red. I probably just didn't thank you because I'm a horrible slob. An ungrateful, horrible slob. But I appreciate it. I have the dumbest song stuck in my head. No, I'm like 99% sure I never actually said thanks. So, thank you. I love it. Y'all, I'm so shook. I've read 2 books in the past week that I couldn't put down. Do you know how rare that is for me? Like, I do not often read books that I, like, do not want to put down. I don't know. I feel like every time I'm reading a book, I get to, like, the 90% mark, and then I like peace out and watch YouTube for like 4 hours. Like, I always get like really close to finishing a book, and then I'm just like, I can't read any more of this right now, and I have to like take a break, and then I'll come back to it and finish it. And I do that like all the time. And I read like 2 books in the past week that I like did not put down, that I read in a single day straight and didn't like take any breaks except for when were completely necessary, like to spend time with like real human beings. Like, did not like put down a single time, pretty much, which is like not very common with me at all. Anyway, the dark hair suits you. Thank you. It makes me look even paler than I already look. It's great. The Walmart actually wasn't busy at all. I like checked right out and everything. Like, I walked in, grabbed the stuff, and walked out. Like, I don't know. Maybe because it was like later. I actually like wrapping presents, except for I hold the tape. I need to get like a tape like dispenser that like actually just like sits in a thing, because my tape dispenser is just like one of the little like scotch tape ones, and I'll stick it between my toes and then I like clench it and I'll like rip the tape off as I go. And so like my foot always ends up hurting when I wrap paper, just like my big toe and my middle toe, like on my right foot, just like really ends up getting like really, really sore. And that's the like one thing I don't like about wrapping, but besides that I like it well enough. Chris is actually pretty good at wrapping. He's like a little bit sloppy, but he's really good at wrapping things that are unusual shapes, which I can't do worth beans. It wasn't lost in the mail. It was great. Oh my gosh, the puppy trying to help. Yesterday morning when we woke up, Chris and I, we just like laid in bed and watched like puppy videos on Twitter for like legit like 20 minutes. It was a great morning because his laugh is so cute, and he was just like laughing at all the puppies, and I was like, okay, this is wonderful. I love this. Yeah, like I can like wrap like boxes and books, but like anything that are not boxes and books, like I can't wrap. There's 3 cats trying to help. I use a lot of tape too. Especially if I'm, wrapping oddly shaped things. Yeah, well, I don't have anything else to hold my tape with, and I only have, like, one hand to use. I'm not going to use 2 hands and, like, let go of the thing that I'm holding super tight, so I, like, hold it tight with one hand and rip it off with the other and can lay down the tape. Anyway. What's the next book? The Silver Chair is fantasy. I guess it could be urban fantasy, but I'm gonna choose to put it in as just fantasy. Because I say so, and it's my spreadsheet, and you can all just shut up and stop trying to backseat tell me how to do my spreadsheet. Because I'm sure you all care. See, this one I would consider more urban fantasy, and I don't know how. I mean, it's the exact same thing where they're like from our world and they go to another world, but like, I don't know, for some reason they just seem different, I guess because of the fairies. You've always considered them straight fantasy. I mean, they're portal fantasy, and so I don't know. I tend to put like portal fantasy into urban fantasy for the fact that it is like based in our world, at least partially, but they spend so little time in the human world, like especially in the Silver Chair and in the Voyage of the Dawn Treader. They're literally there for like 2 pages before they're in Narnia. Right now I'm catching up on my spreadsheet. I didn't do Brock's spreadsheet this year because, I don't know, not to throw Brock under the bus. He's a wonderful person, and it's not really a big deal, but like he said he would like correct something on the spreadsheet specifically for me. I was like, oh, can you add this in for me? And he said he would, and then he's like really busy and has like children and a life, and he didn't actually end up doing it, and I never reminded him, and so I never ended up using the spreadsheet, which is like totally all my bad, and not Brock's fault at all. Brock is the best ever. So I ended up not using a spreadsheet, so a few days ago I went through all of my Goodreads books and I split them up into these categories: genre, age group, star rating, and whether or not I DNF'd it or not. Because those are all the stats that I really care about. And so I'm just like trying to keep updated with this until the end of the year. So I read another historical fiction. It was adult. It was a 2-star book. It was a book I completed. And so I've just been doing this. And it takes like 3 seconds. The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus is fantasy? Urban fantasy? I'll stick it as urban fantasy. Why the heck not? I guess I would stick it as middle grade. It was, did I stick it as 1 star? Yeah, it was pretty garbage. I didn't even finish it. It was so boring. And I DNF'd that one. And then after that, I'm going to start setting up spreadsheets for next year, I think. I don't know if I've actually ever read a thriller. You're on your phone, you can't see very well. Yeah, this is what I read. Let me see. I can zoom this in a little bit better, and that might help a tiny bit. And the deal is contemporary. It's adult. It was a 4-star book, and I completed it. And then I just update the most recent book that I've updated, and I'll know that this one is the most recent one, and so then I'll be able to go back through. So basically what I want to be able to see for this, like I do count kids' books towards my Goodreads goal and stuff, but if I want to subtract this and get the total of books that like I've actually read for the year, I'll be able to like subtract that and know that I'm at like 240 for the year, not including DNFs and not including kids' books, which is like pretty darn good. Not as good as 327, but like that's pretty good. I'm also really happy about my reading this year is that I, if you go look at my stats on Goodreads, so many of my 1-star books are DNFs, which is great. I don't think I've ever read a Western either. But, yeah, I've read so much fantasy this year. For fantasy, I'm at, like, 130. For contemporary, I'm at 90. Historical fiction, I'm at 60. Nonfiction, I'm only at 20. 17 classics. And 11 science fiction. I guess the Life and Adventures of Santa Claus. Actually, I'm going to change that from urban fantasy to classics. Because that's what I would consider it more, I guess. It's like, that's why I read it. Let's see. Yeah, you have all that school reading. Oh, you'll definitely get there, Lizzie. You're a reading machine. I know, Judith. All these crazy people reading so much. It's absurd. I'm actually really happy, like, looking at my stats on Goodreads. If we look at I have 1 unrated book. And then looking at my 1-star reads, I DNF'd The Bride. I DNF'd Somewhere I'll Find You. I DNF'd Sugar Daddy. I didn't DNF this one, Oversea Understone. I DNF'd Midnight Pleasures. I didn't DNF The Yellow House Mystery. I did DNF Rock Trick. I didn't DNF 10 Ways to Be Adored When Landing a Lord. I did DNF the sequel to that one, though, 11 Scandals to Start to Win a Dude's Heart. I did DNF The Heir. I didn't DNF An Offer from a Gentleman because it's a Cinderella retelling and it's Julia Quinn, and I thought I would get better. I really liked the first half. Stranger in My Arms. Did I DNF that? Yeah, I definitely did, because it was super creepy. I DNF'd About That Night. I DNF'd Of Poseidon. I read In a Blink. I DNF'd Rescue My Heart. I DNF'd The Turncoat, sorry. I DNF'd Beautiful Bastard. I DNF'd Days of Rakes and Roses. I didn't DNF Flying Too High. And I didn't DNF Lick either. I finished Compromise for Christmas, but it was really short. For the Beast's Garden, I did DNF that. I DNF'd The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus. I DNF'd Spindlefire. I DNF'd Sweet Dreams. I DNF'd The Hazelwood. I didn't DNF Tell Me, but I did DNF this Lies Jane Austen Told Me. I DNF'd If I Should Ever Love You. On Heart's Boardwalk, I DNF'd. CB Takes a Lover, I DNF'd. Night, I DNF'd. At Any Price, I DNF'd. Louisiana's Way Home, I read. I DNF'd Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. I completed What Happened at Con, and I also completed Misbehave. So out of all of the books that I rated 1 star, I only read 8 of them. So out of 40 books, I only completed 8, which is marvelous in my opinion. I'm so happy with that statistic, actually, that like less than a fourth of the books that I thought were total garbage I didn't even finish. That makes me so happy. Audiobooks are the best. Oh yeah, you'll totally get that, Kitty. You're so close to crushing that. That's awesome. Honestly, like before I really hit my like reading intense stride, I mean, I was struggling to hit 50 books, with like half of them being like manga. I was struggling, and like most of them being children's books. I was struggling to hit 50 books like in 2015 and 2014. I like barely hit it both years. So honestly, that's like ridiculously impressive, especially with such long books. Holy cow. It's about an actual convention. It happens in Atlanta 2 months prior to Dragon Con. That doesn't surprise me. I still thought the characters were garbage, and the main guy was like super sleazy, and I hated him, but it's interesting to know that it's like about a real thing. Speaking of what happens at con, the next book comes out. I don't even think it's, oh no, why did that happen? Stop it. The next book comes out, I think like January 29th. Oh, it's not even on here. Let's get on Audible. But it comes out super soon, and I am really terrified to read it. Because I'm afraid I will hate it. Because what was it called? I don't remember what it was called. Kathy Yardley, Fandom Hearts. So the next book is Playing Doctor, that's what it's called, Playing Doctor, and I think they talk about Doctor Who a lot in it. And I'm like dying to read it. Yeah, it comes out January 29th, and I'm like, frick. I hated the last 2 books I read. I liked number 1. I didn't like 1.5. I loved 2. I really liked 3. And I hated 4 and 4.5. So now I'm like, well, do I read number 5? I mean, I've got to, right? But am I a garbage person to buy it? And if I hate it, return it? Like, what do I do? I'm so excited, though. And this is like the sister that has agoraphobia, which I'm like super excited to read about. And she drives, I think she goes on a road trip in like a camper to try to help with her like anxiety, and it's like painted like the TARDIS, and I'm just like, this sounds like the best book ever, but I'm like so terrified that I'll just despise it because I really hated the last two like so much. One of them, the guy was like super sexist and terrible, and I hated their relationship, and one of them, the girl was abusive. And I hated it. And also, she's bi, but then she ends up with a guy, and I don't love that as well. Like, it feels like she's just bi. The only reason she's bi is so that there's like a conflict where he thinks she's a lesbian, but she's really bi, so he's like, so we can't be together. And then she's like, oh, just kidding, I'm into men, and then they're together. And that was the whole book. It was so stupid. I hated it. Ugh. Goodreads is my best friend. Oh, bye, Katie. I love you. Miss you too. Good night. You're awesome. You're the best ever. I can't actually see the icons on the side how I have my screen set up right now, so I just saw like Katie, and I read it with the D, and I was like, why is Kitty telling me that she loves me? That's so random. But and then I realized it was Katie, and I was like, okay, that makes more sense. You're still on the third one. I really like the third one. Goodreads is your Facebook. It's so true though. I don't utilize it quite as much as a lot of people I know do, but so many people. I know, Katie. I had the same reaction. I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, that's not what happened. I was like, love you too. So many people use it to like update all these statuses and like do all these things and just like talk about their lives. Have like a really engaged audience on there and all this stuff, and I'm not that intense with it, but I know a lot of people do. Like Melanie, I don't know if you guys remember Melanie at all. You probably all know who she is because she's like literal Goodreads queen. And she sent us like magic cards and stuff. Like she's a doll. She always updating her Goodreads and is like the best Goodreads person in the whole world, and I'm like, I don't know how you do it. You're amazing. I think it's time for a water break. Anyway, so now I don't know what to do. I think I'm going to pre-order this right now. And I really hope that I don't hate it. I really hope I don't hate it. I want to love it so badly. I really, really do. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna do it. Please be good, please be good, please be good. I'm just begging you to please be good. And the title and everything about this book looks so good. But now I don't trust this author anymore. Even a smidge. So hopefully it's decent. Anyway, but honestly, I'm so happy with like these stats that my lowest amount is 1 star, and then 2 star, and then 5 star, 3 star, 4 star. That's freaking incredible compared to like my last few years, where in 2017 my highest one was 4 star, but barely. 3 and 4 stars were tied, and then 2 stars. And then 1 star and 5 star were tied. Like, that is so stupid. And same thing with, in 2016, I read mostly 4 stars, but by 2 books, and then 3 stars, and then 2 stars, then 1 stars, and 5 stars. And it's like, such garbage. And in 2015, I didn't rate anything 1 star, but I don't feel like I was as critical of a reader either. And in 2015, not all of these were 5 stars. They were all 4 stars. And I read a ton of 4 stars. But now I've reread them this year, and now they're all 5 stars. Which is interesting. But this year is like definitely, I'm the most happy with my reading stats this year by far. The fact that I read so many books that I really, really genuinely enjoyed. And I really liked my 3-star books as well. There's only a couple on here that I didn't totally love, but I still put as 3 stars because I could still appreciate them even though they didn't work for me. So I still gave them 3 stars. Anything that I read 2 stars or less, like, whatever. But even a lot of the books that I rated 2 stars were DNFs as well, which makes me super happy that I DNF'd so much this year. Like, I'm really, really pleased with that. So many of my, like, low-rated books were DNFs, which makes me really happy. And then I want to count. So this is a reread. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 34, 35. So 35 of the 5-star books that I rated. So I counted that. Okay, so it's good that I did a double count to make sure. So 35 of the books that I've rated 5 stars were rereads, which was a little more than half. Which honestly, that makes me really happy as well, that like I spent so much time like rereading and making sure that I was reading books that I really loved and going back and reading old favorites and stuff. Like that makes me super happy as well. It wouldn't be as high if I didn't reread as much, but I really like focused on that this year because I love doing it. Oh no, what did Diana say? She retracted it. You only DNF 1 book this year. Yeah, that's true. If I do hate that book, I can always give up on the series. But like, I so enjoyed 2 and 3 that it's just like, I feel like I can't give up on them because they had such good ones. Like some of my favoriteest books of the year was like number 4. So you had to fix something and we can't edit. Okay, that's fine. I was just like, did you say something? We're like instant regret. Why did I say that? I don't know. It was just like, it was a very fulfilling reading year, honestly. And the fact that like this is such a low percentage, 1, 2, 3, like 4 rows of books out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 4 rows out of 9. I mean, 4 rows compared to 9, 4 rows out of 13 is like really good for me, considering how negative my ratings were in the past years. So if I took this number and multiplied it by 5, this number multiplied it by 4, 3, 2, 1, added all those together and divided them by this number, that would give me my average rating. Right? Let me see. I should do that really quickly and see what my average rating for the year is, because I have a feeling that it's much higher than it has been the past few years. The past few years, honestly, I think, I don't know, was it the beginning of this year or the beginning? I think it was the beginning of like halfway through 2017. I calculated my average rating of books and it was like a 2.5. I was hating everything I was reading so much. 1,072. And if I divide that by... So my average rating for the year is a 3.27. Which I think is, like, really good. In comparison, it could have been so much worse. And maybe I'll just read a few more 5-star books and, like, bump it up a little bit more. You know what, Katie? No one asked for your logic and your reasonableness. Just keep it to yourself, please. Just kidding. It's true. Don't be logical with me. There's no logic in this brain. It's true though. I noticed. I don't like the 1.5s normally. The 0.5s, I guess I should say. They don't add enough to the story for me. But I keep trying them because I'm a completionist and I must complete the series. If I'm going to read the series, I must complete everything in the series. I don't know. Which of you have read the Eloisa James fairy tale series? And which of you who have read those, who have read the 0.5s, like the 3.5 or whatever, and or I think it was a 2.5 and the 5.5, were they worth reading? Should I just take them off on my list? Because they've been sitting on my list for, like, literal years now. I read that whole series in 2016, and I still haven't read those two. Should I just take them off my list? Are they worth reading? Are they garbage? Do they add anything? DNFing is the best feeling in the whole world. You DNF'd your first for this year? Like, you DNF'd your first book ever this year, or you just DNF'd the first book that you've DNF'd specifically this year? Because both of those are bonkers. I've hated way too many books this year. Okay. I'm gonna go fill up my water, go to the bathroom. I'll be back in a minute. Ugh. Do, 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 da, ba, ba, ba. Let's see. You read the series, but not the point fives. This year, okay. That's still ridiculous. It's like December. All of these books really get to me though, and that is why I do DNF them, because they genuinely do stuff that like really grinds my gears or pisses me off or whatever. I don't know if any of you guys have been playing Katamari Damacy since it came out on Steam / the Switch, but I have that song stuck in my head. I want to roll you up into my life. It's just so like nice and chill, and like I like the harmonies in a lot of it, and I like the words are like fun and cute, and I don't know. I like it. So I've had it stuck in my head, so like I played that when I was like walking around the house just now. I'm like, here, let me turn this on really quickly. Da ba da ba, do 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 da ba da da. That's definitely one of the more like chill songs in that game. Some of them are a bit like intense, but that one is nice. And DNFing really does like help me get out of like reading slumps and like reading things I enjoy and being like DNFing. Yeah, it helps a lot, I found. You've seen some gameplay. I've been having so much fun. I really recommend watching Dex Bonus on Twitch. She did a couple streams of it like a week or two ago. And then I also watched this guy, I don't remember his name. He swears like a lot though, so if you don't like swearing, don't watch him. But I watched this other guy play as well, and it was really enjoyable watching him play. I'm trying to remember what his name is. It started with an S, I think. That's not helpful. I'll have to go find it. Because I was trying to find people that were like appropriate for my sister to watch, because I really wanted her to like watch it and at least like see what it is, because she has no idea. It didn't start with an S at all. His name is Jerma, Jerma, and then there's like some numbers at the end. Anyway, so I was like trying to find like someone appropriate for my sister to watch to like at least get a taste of the game, but everyone swears a lot or is really annoying. So I didn't, the only one I could like recommend was like Dodger from Dex Bonus, and I was like, whatever, she's like close enough to being clean. She only swears like once every like 10 minutes versus like 5 times a minute, so close enough. But I don't know, Zach, I mean, maybe it's just me, but I personally find his voice to be a little annoying. So like I tried to watch it and I'm like, this is just not soothing. It just doesn't match like with the game for me. But I'm sure it's lovely. I was just like, I don't know if I can deal with this right now. I'm sorry, I know you love him. Duger, yeah, she's great. She is so cute. I've been super enjoying her Vlogmas this year. Like, I obviously wish she was vlogging every day, but even just getting to see like a little bit of it has been super fun, and she's so funny. And just like sitting I was like peeing myself, and I like was watching her fill in her eyebrows. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the best content I've seen on YouTube all year, is Dodger filling in her eyebrows to be like super bold and crazy. It was perfection. So many of them do, and I mean, it doesn't bother me at all. I mean, whatever they say, I hear that but like 5 times as much at work every day. It's like, it doesn't bother me, but my sister, she's not like super intense about it, like the no swearing, but she prefers minimal, and preferably like no like F-bombs, which I totally respect. So Dodger only like swears every few minutes or so, so I'm like, that's like better at least. No, I definitely think Zach Scott is a good guy. Like, I've definitely watched some of his Let's Plays in the past, but I was like trying to find one that I really like. And even like Massey, I really like Massey. I think she's lovely and quite funny, and I have enjoyed watching her Let's Plays in the past, but like it didn't feel like the proper form to expose my sister to it for the first time, and I feel like Dodger really like captured that. Let's open it up. Let's see. Twitch.tv. No, don't start playing. Don't start playing. I hate that it plays automatically. Dex bonus. Okay. No. I don't want to watch that. Okay. So she only played it for 2 days, unfortunately, which is lame, but these are the 2 days she played, so they were 2 weeks ago. So this one, the new shirts, holiday bundles, whatever, blah, 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 she starts like around halfway through, and she's not like super great at the game, but her like, the way she like speaks and stuff is super funny, and she also, like her reaction when the game starts is like priceless. I love it. Morgan is like a sailor while playing games, so you're used to it. Everyone at my work like swears so much. Like, for like just like a casual like family owned local like bookstore, like everyone swears ridiculous amounts. Anyway, so I guess at like 1:31 is when she like starts the game, and her reaction to like hearing it is like the best thing ever. Like, she's so excited. It's incredible. And it's like totally like, I get it. I really love the music from this game. So I was playing some of the music in the car, and Chris was like, what are we listening to? And I'm like, Katamari. And he's like, I don't like this song. Can you turn it off? And I was like, okay, geez, sure. So anyway, I recommend. I don't know. I think I'm just gonna do like a to read like this and just like add to this over the year. So start with like January. Oh, come on. January TBR. And just like keep track of stuff like this right now. But I am gonna stick some books in that I want to read like over the next week or two right now in here as well, because I just want to have them all written down somewhere. So I really want to read that book, Stranger Things, The World's Turned Upside Down. I'll know what it is. I can just write Stranger Things. Artemis Fowl. But in the defense of novellas, if you're still here, Kitty, in the defense of novellas, I did like the novella that I read for the Expanse series by James S.A. Corey, The Butcher of Anderson Station. I think it was like, it added something to the world. It added some like nice like background. It made me appreciate characters from the first book more and how they got to the situations they were at. I thought it was really interesting. So Gods of Risk is a novella from that series, and I'm like really interested in reading it because the other one was so good. I currently have A Christmas Carol checked out. I don't know if I'll actually read it, but I could because it's checked out, and I really love that book a lot. I was going to try to read Cry Wolf by Patricia Briggs, but I think I'm going to save it for next year. I don't know. Okay. So. These are the reading challenges that I want to participate in next year. This is the first one, Romanceopoly. This is hosted by, so Peace Love Books, Jess from Peace Love Books, and then I don't know, I've never actually watched Under the Covers, the channel. I should though, since they're all like romance based. And they're like hosting this really cool reading thing. If you like romance and you haven't heard about Romanceopoly yet, like, what are you doing? This is great. What's another good Let's Player who does blind Let's Plays? Oh, I don't know. Recently, I don't know, I've been watching Psycho a lot recently, and he doesn't tend to do stuff blind. He likes to plan it out, and he like puts good work into them. He spent like 18 hours catching a shiny Paris for Let's Go Eevee, and I was like, the dedication of this man is incredible. I was like, what are you doing? That stupid shiny Paris, and Paris isn't even that good of a Pokemon. Anyway, if you haven't heard about this challenge yet, it's really freaking cool. I'm gonna have to, I don't know. I don't know if I'm actually gonna like register and sign up for the fact that, I don't know, like, should I sign up? The thing is, I'm like a 100%er. Like, why would I do a challenge if I'm not gonna do everything in that challenge? Which, I mean, it motivates me to read, like, over the summer when I did the Ripped Bodice Summer Romance Book Bingo. I did Sarah's Summer Romance Book Bingo. And then I also did Newts and Owls. I read so much and completed all of them. Check, 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 check. And it was phenomenal, and I had so much fun with it. And it was, like, a great experience. And I feel like that way of, like, I don't know, so, like, I want to do this, like, I want to do it, and I want to join in and do them all, but I know I'm not gonna do them all, and so I don't want to, like, join if I'm not gonna beat it, you know? So, like, I will do all of these, like, main challenges that are, like, actual, like, read an urban fantasy, free choice, urban fantasy, read a rockstar romance, like, sure, I'll try that, coffee shop, post pics of your bookshelf using Romanceopoly Shelfie. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna take a picture and post it and stuff when I don't use social media in that way. Like, it's just going out of my way to do something that is, like, totally out of character and that I don't care about and doesn't give me any fulfillment. So I think what I'm gonna do for that instead is I'm just gonna, like, substitute my own, like, challenge in. Like, maybe I'll do follow, oh, that's such a good idea. Oh, thank you, Sarah. You're the best. Sarah posted her goals video for the year today, I think, and she talked about how she's gonna do a thing on her Goodreads shelf, where on like her like Goodreads group page, where every month she's gonna choose two categories from the Audible romance package, because they have them split up into sub like categories, and she's gonna do that. So like romance categories, she chose her 24 favorites and she's gonna choose 2 every month and try to read a book off of both of those categories that she chooses every month, which I think is really great. And that way she'll have read like 24 different categories and be using her romance like package, which I think is great. So I think maybe for these challenges, like Beanie and this prompt, like if it's something like that, and they do it multiple times where they want you to like post these pictures and stuff, which I don't care about at all, maybe I'll just like randomly select one of these and read one of those. I think that's a great idea. I think I'll end up doing that, because that way it will like push me outside my comfort zone maybe a little bit, and I'll still be reading romance books, and it will still be a challenge and something like having to like go out of my way to like find a book to read, but still like an enjoyable way. That sounds so fun. All right. You're not dissing on novellas. Some are amazing and add to the series, but I was saying by the sound of that one series, it doesn't sound like they're worth the time. Yeah, but I didn't like the full book either. And maybe she does have good novellas. And I have read some really good novellas that I really, really liked. But I don't know. In general, I feel like novellas don't add a lot, especially in like romance series. So I don't know. I need to maybe be more selective. And like, I just read like the Folk of the Air novella, and like a lot of people really loved it. And I'm like, this just didn't do anything for me. Like, what is it supposed to do? Make me empathize with that character or understand them? No and no. She's still dumb. Anyway. Hi, Keisha. Oh, you saw Bumblebee and Aquaman? Both today or just in general? Is Aquaman even out? Wow. I have about 0% interest in either of those, but I know Chris wants to see Bumblebee. So I think I'll do that. So with this, I think I'm actually going to use the guide sheet, and I think I am going to end up doing... Oh no, I don't want the guide sheet. Ugh, blah. I want... Oh shoot, I just closed the whole page. Oh no, I suck. Whatever. I think I'm gonna like actually go around the board and like roll a dice every week. But I think if I land on any of those, I'll just like randomly like 1 through however many categories this is. 1 through whatever, randomly like roll it and choose like 1. So like if I get like Modern Royal, then I'll like have to go through the romance package and see if there's like anything in this that I'm like, oh yeah, I want to read that. That works for me. The Frog Prince. Wait, what is this? I could totally read this. This looks ridiculous. Oh dear. Anyway, I think that's a good idea. I just came up with it. I'm happy with that. You're wrapping a wooden handcrafted and painted fish. Whatever makes your mother-in-law happy. I like that creepy Santa Claus that we gave my mother-in-law. I'm like, this is horrifying. It's gonna watch me opening presents Christmas Day and I'm not excited. Both today back to back. Holy cow. That's intense, Keisha. I could not sit in the movie theater that long. I'd go a little, like, stir crazy. or a lot stir crazy. Anyway, lots of stuff. I also checked out The Princess and Curdie and River Secrets. I think I'll put those off till next year as well. I really want to get to Frankenstein because I would really wanted to get to it for this year. I'd also love to read Leonardo da Vinci, but I don't think it's gonna happen, even though I have it checked out right now and I'm really excited to read it. I was also gonna try to read The Bear and the Nightingale, but that one's gonna have to get put off. I would love to finish East, since I tried to read it like 4 times this year and I just like never was in the mood. I need to get to Winnie the Pooh. Oh gosh, what did I do? Oh no, I actually hit the wrong button. Winnie the Pooh, and I want to get to Grounded. I would love to get to Simply Love, but I don't think that's gonna happen. The Proposal, which I guess I can just write Proposal. And yeah, I think that's everything I have checked out from the library right now that I'm like really gonna try to get. I'm gonna stick Simply Love in there and we'll call it good. Hi, Chris. I really do need to get to Circe. Kara loved that book so much, and I'm like, I really have to read it because she was raving about it. Is there any way I can get to 11 books in 3 days of reading? Probably not. And I need to prioritize. But dang it. Dang it, I want to read them. So I think I'm going to have to prioritize. But this gives you an idea of what I'm planning on getting to this week and what hopefully I can get to. I'm not going to really have any time to read over Christmas for the first few days. But that's fine. Okay. And then let me see. "2019 challenges." I don't know. I think it would be fun to honestly, that might be fun. Last year Audible apparently did a challenge where they like you're supposed to read a book from each of these subcategories. I think there's like 42 or something. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, so there's 44 of these. Essentially. These are like spaced weird, so I couldn't tell. So there's like 44 of these. So I could always choose like one a week, and that might be fun. Maybe I'll do that too. Maybe I'm a little extra. Maybe I'm a lot extra. I need to take a chill pill. Oh, that's so annoying. Oh, well, that's fine. So I think I might try to do that and just like see how it goes, and if it doesn't work for me, that's fine. So I'm gonna try to do that. I'm gonna be doing the gosh, what is it called? Romanceopoly. I'm gonna do, oh, I hate this. Romanceopoly. I'm gonna do my like Goodreads group that I use. I'm going to try to, if they end up doing like another like romance list, I'm gonna try to do that because I think it's so fun and great. Where's Create Your Own Readathon? There it is. And Unapologetic Romance Readers. Let's see. Yeah, they haven't made a post for 2019 yet, and it's making me kind of worried because it's so close to 2019, and this is a completely different challenge. But this is like the list that they had last year, and I've gotten to all of them but 3. I couldn't force myself through Bodice Ripper because I hate everyone that I've read with such an intense passion. Everyone I've tried to read, I didn't read that. I didn't read an inspirational romance because I don't really know what that is, and I don't think I like them. And I didn't read a vampire romance. But I read everything else on here, which I think is like really great, and I'm super happy with that amount. And so if they do another one, I'm definitely going to do it. That's so weird. Somebody just sent me like a message on Facebook, and I'm really confused by why they would send me that. Okay, let's just ignore that. Hi, Dyslexic Muggle. You're really bad at reading challenges. It's not something I like consciously try to do throughout the year. I just like every like 3 or 4 months I went in and I updated them as I went, and I was actually really happy with that. A Bodice Ripper is, I don't know, usually fantasy, oh my gosh. Usually romance like published like in the 90s or earlier, so it's like a little bit older romance, and it's all like based off of the idea that like, I don't know, it was like suppressed like housewives reading these in like the 60s and 70s, where they felt like they couldn't enjoy like sex or anything like that if it wasn't like forced upon them. And so a lot of it is like forced seduction and stuff like that, and like really aggressive men who like won't take no for an answer and like force themselves upon the women. A lot of them are filled with like rape and stuff, and I don't know, like I know a lot of people like them, but I just can't make my way through them. They like skeeve me out to no end. So that's a Bodice Ripper, where they're like ripping the bodice open because they're like gonna attack this lady. No thank you. Those covers alone. Yeah, Bodice Ripper covers are very interesting. And also this is all coming from me, who I've never actually gotten my way through a Bodice Ripper before. I can never get through them. And with a historical setting. But it's like more that idea of, I'm afraid that if I open this, it will be something like super R that I'm not allowed to show on my channel. So, oh, here's covers. Lord of Scoundrels, I guess, is a Bodice Ripper, and I haven't read that yet, but most people seem to love it, so maybe I'll try that. But these are like typical Bodice Ripper like covers and stuff as well, and it's like these really aggressive men. It's a lot. They're a lot. And they're not for everyone. And I'm one of those people. Yeah, the same. That's the impression I've always gotten from them, Chris, is like, um, every bodice ripper I've tried has felt like super like rapey and abusive and uncomfortable, and I just like can't. Ugh, I can't. I've like really tried, and it's just not for me. But they don't have that as a challenge, so it's fine. At least in this one. I like a lot of paranormal romance / urban fantasy. I don't know. I've really been enjoying like contemporary romance recently, and there are like certain authors that I think are really good, but I don't know. Not everything should be based off of what romance novels were 20 years ago. Fabio used to be the go-to cover guy for them. Yeah. Actually, I didn't even know who Fabio was till like fairly recently, honestly. And Chris, I like mentioned to him that like I didn't know who that was. And he was like, really? He's like, even I know who Fabio is, Giselle. And I'm like, or Fabio. I was like, I know. But I've never read romance and I was never exposed to it. Because my mom was like super anti-romance novels. I love you, Mom. If she's watching this ever. Inspirational romance. Discover wholesome, faith-filled stories that enrich the lives of the readers. Meet characters who face challenges that strengthen their faith and lift their spirits. The only books that I have read in the past couple years that I would consider to be inspirational romances, I hated with such an intense passion. They were all retellings of fairy tales. They were by Melanie Dickerson, and they were the most garbage things I have ever read in my whole life. They were really derivative, stupid. The main characters were literally idiots. All the main female characters were just like the most like pious, humble, like lumps of like garbage that like couldn't do anything for themselves. And all the men were like a little bit more rebellious and like doesn't have as strong a faith, but like through being around this good sweet girl then they get stronger faith and they like want to be good for her. And that was like literally all 6 books that I read were the exact same thing in like different fairy tale settings. It was the most garbage thing I've ever read in my life, and I haven't read an inspirational romance since. I definitely prefer, in romance, I definitely prefer, like, beta heroes and stuff. I'm not, like, super into, like, the whole, like, alpha, strong, me man, like, stuff. Like, I definitely prefer my beta heroes, so that's what I'd maybe consider looking up if you want to try some traditional romance. I would literally just look up, like, beta hero Goodreads. And I would look at best beta heroes and then popular beta hero books. So Texas Destiny is one that I really liked. I didn't like the Duchess War, but that's because he like is like, I could rape you right now. And she's like, that's okay, it wouldn't be rape because I want to have sex with you. And I'm like, he just threatened to rape you and you're turned on by that? What is wrong with you? And that's why I really didn't like that book. But I like the rest of it. Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, I liked. Hunger Games is a beta hero, apparently. Attachments, I really loved. I need to reread it, though, because it's been a few years. I really liked Just Like Heaven. I liked The Madness of Lord Ian Mackenzie. I really liked Diary of an Accidental Wallflower. The Duke and I didn't like, but I'm going to try again in a few years, because maybe it just didn't click with me. Unclaimed, I loved. I really loved these books. And A Sum of All Kisses, like, all of these are really good. And they're all beta heroes. Like, every beta hero book on this list that I've read, I've really liked. Besides this one, because it kind of skeeved me out a little bit. And The Hunger Games, because I just am not a fan of her writing. And The Duke and I, because I thought it was boring. But, like, most of them I really like. And then best beta hero books. Twilight, do not know. But The ones that are actually like romance books are like really good. Northanger Abbey, best beta hero of all time, Mr. Tilney. Henry Tilney, the one true book boyfriend that I've ever had my whole life. So, anyway, that's what I recommend if you're like kind of skeeved out by like the super aggressive men. Because I prefer beta heroes too. You were more into Fabio when you were younger. Isn't inspirational romance the same as Christian romance? I think so, but since I'm not an expert, I'm not sure. But I'm not interested in them. I have my finger literally stuck in the buttonhole in my thing. I'm such a failure. I really like contemporary romance. I've read so much contemporary romance this year. It's definitely become like a favorite genre of mine this year. It's just like such a go-to for me. Like it was historical romance for a while where I was feeling slumpy. I would go read like a historical romance, and now it's, if I'm feeling slumpy, I'll go read a contemporary romance, and I'm honestly not mad about it. I've been really enjoying it, and it helps a lot with my slumpiness. Have you ever read a harem romance? I have not read a harem romance. I'm kind of scared to read a harem romance, honestly. Should I read one? But you like the older ones. You tend to read only contemporary romance with people 25 and up. No, that makes sense. And I don't know, the maturity helps a lot. You may have read something called Five Daddy by Five Daddies not long ago. Reverse harem novels for the win. I don't know. There's like a few that have popped up on like Hoopla for me that like the covers at least intrigue me because they look like sort of fantasy-esque, and I'm like, oh, I'll like try that. And then like on the cover it says like reverse harem romance, and I'm like, I'll try that at some point. I'll like still add it to my favorite list, but I don't know if I'm actually ever gonna get to it. But who knows? Maybe I'm just being a brat. I'm probably just being a brat. I tend to do that a lot. I feel like I need to read all of these beta hero books now. A Kiss for Midwinter, I kind of want to reread that. That book just made me happy. I don't know. These are some novellas I actually did really like. Courtney Milan does a good novella. I really like that one. It's Christmassy. I could read that. Offer from a Gentleman I hated because he is the majorist dickwad of all time. He's the worst and I hope he dies. Once Upon a Marquess I liked. Although I wouldn't super consider him super beta. In my opinion. Sweet Filthy Boy. Cotillion. Cotillion. Best beta hero of all time. I just read it like this week and I loved Cotillion so much. I don't know, the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, that was such a good book. Like, that book was like so much though. Like, I mentioned this earlier, like there have been 2 books that have really surprised me in the past week, and this Cotillion was one of them. Cotillion was a book that like I could not predict what was going to happen one page to the next. Like, I was 70% of the way through the book, and I'm like, I'm not sure how this is going to end. Is she going to end up with anyone? Or who is she going to end up with? Because what's going on? This book is ridiculous. And literally, like, in the last, like, hour of the audiobook, like, literally over 90% of the way through the book, I was like, I still didn't know how it was going to end. And I was like, what is happening? Oh my gosh, I was just like surprised by like everything. I like so rarely feel like genuine surprise when reading a book. And this book like surprised me like dozens of times. Like every 5 minutes I was like, what? What? It was such a delightful experience. Cotillion was great. I recommend. OMG, we had a small fight and broke up automatically. Yeah. It's true. I don't know, it's weird though, because like most historical romances are of like younger characters because everyone got married when they were like 12. And so it's like all these like 18-year-old girls that are getting married, and the men are like very rarely older than the age of 30, and they're usually around like 27. And so they're like quite a bit younger. And then in contemporary romances, they can often be a lot older, and it depends who's writing them and how they're writing them as well. Because like Kristen Ashley can do some really good older characters, like older meaning like in their 40s and 50s, which I think is so great, of like finding romance and second chance romance, and she does a lot of that, and so many times it's so good, and so many times it's like garbage, and I hate it. So I don't know, that's also like always up in the air of whether or not I'm gonna like her books. For some reason you like harem and reverse harem anime, but the books you loathe. I've never read Anita Blake. And I feel like I shouldn't, because I heard like after like book 3 it all just goes downhill. But Cotillion is great. The Eris effect is great. Persuasion is great. All these beta heroes. My heart. I love them. I've heard really good things about Kate Noble, but I haven't read any of her books yet. I did not really care for Slammed. That book skeeved me out. Hearts in Darkness, I loved. That is still one of the highlights of this year. I kind of want to reread it, but I feel like my heart will get shattered into a million little pieces if I do. So I'm scared to reread it, but I really, really liked it. Shiver, I don't really remember. It was boring. Roomies, I liked a lot. Honestly, one of the most like relatable main characters that I've ever read. Like I just like connected to her on such a personal level, which is something I don't experience that often. Because of Miss Bridgerton, I really need to reread. I loved it so much when I first read it, and I hope I still love it. Level Up is really good. The Countess Conspiracy, I really, really, really liked so much. Good beta heroes. Cinder. Honestly, you guys, and don't hate me, but I'm genuinely like considering lowering my rating of Cinder down to 2 stars. Like the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, I was so disappointed by that book. Why? Ugh. But I'm like afraid. I don't know. It's like a 2.5, and I rounded it up, but I feel like rounding it down now. And Suddenly You I liked, but there was like stuff at the end that I didn't love. I wish that the characters didn't change their minds about what they wanted in their lives, because it's annoying. Looking at your Goodreads list is making me so jealous. I'm getting after mine this weekend. Like just what I have marked? Thanks. I try to keep up with it. I try. Oh, that's interesting, Diana. I didn't know that. I mean, I've never read anything by her, but You were about to ask if you should try Cinder. I don't know, maybe you wouldn't be as disappointed in me, but like for everyone saying like this is such a good Cinderella retelling, like I was like really let down by the second half. Like I liked the first half quite a bit, and the second half like I really, really didn't like. Especially like the very end. I was just like, what is this? No. I wasn't a fan. And it didn't like stick with me super well either. There's better ones. I recommend Elle Enchanted or Disenchanted if you want a good Cinderella retelling. Or at least A Kiss After Midnight by Eloisa James if you want something funny. I don't know, it's worth a read if you want to read it, but I didn't think it lived up to the hype. I'll definitely try the next books in the series. I almost just turned my computer off. That would have been so sad. I pressed the button and I like immediately took my finger off, but ugh. I have no idea who that author even is. I have literally no recommendations. None. Okay. So, I'm gonna do Romanceopoly. I think I'm gonna try to do the, romance package, challenge. I set up my own little challenge for myself that's called just like, it was inspired, so there's a site, oh gosh, there was a book bingo 2019. I think it was, nope. Okay, apparently not. Okay, so it's this. And they made this thing where it's like a fantasy book bingo, but it's not a full book bingo. They took out a row, which like really bothers me, probably way more than it should, but like it bothers me that this corner does not go to this corner. And I'm like, well, is it a real bingo then? No. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just add in 5 of my own categories. But then I was looking at it, and like some of these are like specific genres, like grimdark and literally just grimdark and portal fantasy. And everything else are like, and I guess fairy tale retelling and classic fantasy. So there's like 4 that are actual like fantasy categories, and the rest are like tropes within fantasy, which is like fine. But when I was looking at it, I was thinking about it, and I would rather like expand my genre category over what tropes I read, because like, ooh, reading a book about dragons, that's a big stretch for Giselle. She's never done that before, and her favorite series of all time isn't dragon books and stuff like that. And so I ended up taking this and completely changing it and adding in all these extra categories and stuff. So I added in stuff like I kept the grimdark, the fairy tale retelling, the classic fantasy, and portal fantasy, but I added in like high fantasy, low fantasy, like steampunk, gosh, what is it called? Like gas lamp. I added in like a ton of different subgenres, and I'm going to do that instead. I'm going to try to read a couple fantasy subgenres every month. So that's what I'm going to try to do instead. I'm really excited about it. So, like I was inspired by this, but I'm like considering it my own thing because I changed so much of it. And like none of it is the same. I'm gonna do my fantasy bingo. I'm gonna do Audible books. I'm gonna really try to focus on Audible books. Like books that I already own on Audible, and like really trying to push through them and get caught up. Sorry, my sister's texting me. Audible books and series. And that's what I want to focus on this year. I counted, and I think I have something like 80 series that I'm currently reading. 80. That's ridiculous. I can't believe myself. 80 series? What's wrong with me? I want to slap myself every time I think about it. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Psh. Like, it's absurd. And I don't feel comfortable with that number. So I'm going to try to cut down this year and knock 52 series off of my list. Like, a series every week. I can do that. And so I've been like planning it out actually pretty like meticulously. If I do say so myself. Exactly. How do I even? I don't. And that's it. Is I don't keep up with them. I'm like, I feel overwhelmed every time I think about them. It makes me like very frustrated and anxious. And it's like, it's giving me no joy to have 80 ongoing series. I think I would be okay with like 40 because I read a wide genre. Like, I'll read contemporary, I'll read fantasy, I'll read urban fantasy, I'll read historical fiction, I'll read like general, I'll read like classics, I don't know, what else is there? You get the point. Like, I read like a pretty wide like genre base. I'll read some mysteries. So I'm fine with having like some physical series of like graphic novels or mangas or whatever. Like, I'm fine with having like a few from each one. And if I have like 8 categories and I have 3 books that I'm reading through 8 different categories, like, I'm gonna have like at least 20 ongoing series, and some of them like 4 like historical romance series probably isn't enough for me. Like, I probably want to read like 7 at a time and like switch around and stuff. So like, that seems reasonable to me, like cutting it down to like 40. So I figure if I try to cut 52 off of 80, that will get me down to like 30. And then from the 30, I'm sure I will start a lot of series, and that will probably bump me up closer to 50 again, because I'm not going to like stop myself from starting new series. And I feel like, but at that point, I'll be refreshed on everything. So I'm like, last year I really did want to like work on my series, and I didn't buckle down enough. And I tried, and I ended up DNFing a lot of series, which I'm very proud of myself about. Like, I started reading books and series, and I'm like, I just don't have an interest in the series anymore, or, wow, I really hate this, like, why am I reading this, or, I didn't like the first book, I gave the first book 1 star, why am I even trying to read book 2? So, I cut a lot of books off my series that last year in that way, but not enough. Really quickly, the Create Your Own Readathon, if you go to that Goodreads page and you look at the 2019 challenges, I'm not going to do the Stacking the Series challenge because I would rather focus on like knocking off. So basically what I've done is, this is what I've been doing over the past few days. Instead of cleaning the house and packing like a mature adult would, packing to go out of town, because we leave literally in like, oh gosh, very soon. We leave in like 30 something hours. That's ridiculous. I think we leave in 30 hours for Maryland, and I'm not packed whatsoever. We, instead of like being a mature adult and doing that, instead I went through all my series. I found all the series I was currently reading, and I split them into categories of, I have 1 book left in the series to finish it. I have 2 books left in the series to finish it. And then I split it into books with 3 or more that I haven't read in the past year, and 3 or more that I have read in the past year. That I read in the first like 8 months of the year, actually, of 2018. And then I'm gonna make a last little category where everything that I've read like August on, and I'm like up, like that I'm like have read recently and stuff, I will make their own little category and add them in as I read them. And that's how I've split them up. And so then I figured I can just choose 1 book off of my, I only have 1 book left to finish the series. 1 book off of my, I have 2 books left to finish in the series, and try to get to those every week. And that way I will constantly be replenishing my I only have one book left thing. So I don't like run out of that and then be like, well, now I can't finish any more series. I have to read 2 or 3 books in order to finish a series. So that will get me down. And as I try to like slowly but surely like work through those 2 books a week, that will be knocking off series, replenishing series for me to knock off. And then every week or 2, or maybe only like once a month, I will like continue drawing from like my backlist. And hopefully some of those I will have only had 3 books left, and then that will get added to like the 2 books, and then those can get knocked down to 1 and stuff. So like I have it all set up methodically in my head, and I spent a lot of time going over this and like combing it out and finding everything. And I think it's sustainable for like the first 6 months before I need to like buckle down and read some of my backlist series. But I think I have enough that reading that way I can get through like over like 30 series, like completing 30 series in the first like half of the year or whatever. So that's like totally fine. So that's the plan. And I'm like pretty excited about it. So I'm not going to be doing the stacking the series challenge, even though I think it's really cool, but it's just like not practical for me. Like I don't care about reading a whole 11 book series or whatever. I can't. I would rather like knock off some of the other series that I'm currently reading that are like shorter and then focus on the long series. And like some of them are going to be long series, and I know I'm not going to be able to read through like all the Discworld books in like 2 years. I wouldn't want to, because I really like Discworld, and I don't want to like shove my way through them and just be like reading them for the sake of reading them really quickly. Like that's not how I want to read Discworld. I want to keep on reading like 1 or 2 a year at the pace that I'm really enjoying them. So anyway, that's what I'm focusing on and thinking about. You don't really want to know how many are in the middle. I knocked off 1 or 2 that I didn't want to continue as I was going through, but as of right now, they're all series that I want to continue in. And if I'm like reading them and I'm not into them, then I'll DNF the series, and I have no qualms with that. And I think if I DNF a series, I'm gonna count it for like completing it, for the sake of like, well, you got 50% through this book and you're DNFing it. Now this week you also have to read a whole nother book to like complete this challenge. Like that's garbage. So I think I'm gonna like let that count for myself, like personally, of like you knocked another series off your like list, your overall list, and that way I can spend the time that I would be reading that book on like reading some older books from series and trying to whittle those down to a more reasonable amount. And you don't want it to end. Is tackling your unread books. You made a TBR jar. Oh, good job. And good luck. I don't know. It's so daunting. The TBR is so daunting. I feel overwhelmed, but I'm going to try my hardest to keep it under control. So I'm not going to be doing stacking the series challenge, even though I think it's interesting, or the Kindle Unlimited, but the Audible romance one actually I think might be fun. Elizabeth, you're so funny. I don't even know if you're still in here, but Elizabeth says she might like participate in this, and I don't know if she's gonna do like the 2 a month or if she's gonna just like do all of them. But if she does it all of them, I'm sorry, Elizabeth. I just can't imagine you reading an erotica, and I think it would be like super hilarious. I hope you do. But not if it makes you uncomfortable, obviously. I was just like, I can just like imagine her trying. This thing was completely full, and now it's like down to the very bottom. I've drunk so much water. Like, I literally filled it to the very top. I have to pee so badly. Finishing series is your main goal for the new year. And I'm really glad that I have been keeping track. So on, let me see. I have been keeping track. I need to update it, but like overall, it's like mostly up to date, which I don't know. And I don't know what I'm going to do about my random nonsense book club. I want to try to do it again in the new year, but I am not consistent enough to keep up with it by myself on Goodreads. And I feel like having someone be a moderator on my Goodreads with me and like update the books and stuff, and I can like move them over from like currently reading to like read and like things like that. Like, which is like pathetic because I'm like one human being and running this tiny little book club that has like 5 members. Like, that shouldn't be a big deal. That I can't, enough that I like feel like I can't keep up with it by myself. But like, I genuinely feel like I can't keep up with it by myself and that I wouldn't be consistent with it. So I feel like I need help. But I'm like too embarrassed to ask anyone to help moderate my Goodreads group because everyone is busier than me and I have the most free time out of everyone I know. So I don't know what to do about that. But I want to start it again. But I don't know what to do about that. You can do it, Judith. You can finish all the series. I believe in you. Not buying books. Oh, that will be so fun, Diana. That's awesome. Your reading goal is just to try to read consistently. That's the best reading goal. So these are all the books that I had, all the series that I had at the end of last year that I was currently reading. A lot of them say DNF'd, which I'm happy about. I mean, I tried that series and I realized this is just not worth... Oh my gosh, why can't I do anything? DNF'd. So there was 10 series like that I just decided to chuck. Not including series that like I started this year that I might have decided to DNF and stuff. So like there were 10 that I decided to DNF, and then a lot that I just like caught up with on general, or like read something from in general for this year. There were a lot that I didn't end up getting to that I really, really want to. And then these are ones that I'm caught up with. There's like 18 of them. This is not totally accurate anymore. Actually, I did read the next Rokesby book, but the next Have Swordville travel book came out. The next Nevermore book came out. And that's it so far. So the next 2 books of 2 of the series have come out, but I do intend to catch up with them as soon as I can. And so I'm gonna try to keep my caught up super high. And then these are all the series that I either started or worked on this year. So 44 that I either started or like made progress on, not including ones that like I made progress on and finished, because there were some from like previous years that like I finished them this year, so they didn't get added to the new list because they were complete and I don't need to keep record of them anymore. As you can see, I really did super good in the first half of the year last year. In the first half of the year, I only like touched 11 series, and then like June on, where I added in 30 more, which is absurd. So I need to just get better about this. And I know a lot of it was because of like the romance, like book bingos and stuff. Like I really needed to get to certain things that would like fit and stuff. And like that's fine, but if I'm completing series all the time as well, it won't be as ridiculous that like I have 40 ongoing series. Yeah, but if you're completing a series a week, it's fine. So anyway, you're still rapping and you hate life. Oh no. This is how you want to keep track of your reading, but you don't. It took me a while to get to this point. I definitely wasn't keeping track like this, like even like a year and a half ago, and it's like really in the last year that I'm like, I need to keep track of this. If anyone wants to volunteer to help me out, I know I'm such a pathetic person, but if anyone wants to volunteer to help me out, at least like remind me, be like, oh, you need to update this and stuff on Goodreads. I may try to start that group up again. We'll see. So, anyway, I think that's it for tonight. I know I didn't like do as much planning as I wanted to, but I have like my thoughts out. I'm working on it, and I'm like excited. I'm very excited, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So I'm really excited for next year. My main goals for at least for the first half of the year is catch up on Audible and be consistent with like finishing series, and anything after that is like icing on the cake. The frosting on top. And I might honestly not like touch those romance category things at all very much until the summer, because I'm pretty sure that Sarah's going to be doing another romance book bingo, and that the Ripped Bodice is going to do another romance book bingo. So I might just like wait off on doing some of my romance things until it's time for the Ripped Bodice and that over the summer, and then I can like go totally ham again, and it will be a lot of fun. Anyway. Yeah, no, keep going, Judith. You can do it. You're almost there. I believe in you. And I don't know. And whatever works for you. Honestly, like I'm experimenting with different ways to track to see if they will help me more. And I'm just trying to like find what works. And I change how I track stuff like every like 3 months, because what works for me 1 month just doesn't work for me like the next. But this is something that like I've been consistent with, and that has really helped me, but I haven't been consistent enough with it, and I need to like really focus on like not starting a bajillion series. You'd be willing to help every other month. That would be wonderful. You would totally help, but you're trash at keeping up with anything that needs to be updated. Same. And I feel like that's hence why you don't even use Goodreads. Same. Like I'm not good at like keeping up to date with that, but maybe I'll try again in the new year and be like, this time it's for real. So I guess keep an eye on my Goodreads group, and maybe I'll add some new books in to read and delete all the other ones and try to start fresh and be consistent and do more live shows and all that fun stuff. Anyway, we're going out of town. We leave Sunday morning. We're going to try to leave around like 4 a.m. Sunday morning. We're driving all day. And then we come back from Maryland on Friday. So we're going to be gone for almost a whole week. I think I'll be able to live stream that Sunday. But Chris might be live streaming. Let me check. No, Chris won't be live streaming. I think Chris is going to be live streaming on the 31st. So I think I'm going to do a live stream on the 30th. Or the 29th or something, and it will be lots of fun. So I'll see you guys in a week. Merry Christmas. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, I still hope you have a great day. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like when people get offended when people say Merry Christmas to them when they don't celebrate Christmas, it's a little bit silly because like the person is not being malicious at all. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I hope if you have a break, I hope your breaks are great. And have a great 25th. And let me see all the messages. You're excited for a stream. I'm so excited for Christopher's stream. I'm pumped to rewatch him play Kingdom Hearts. Especially when he gets to the Alice section. I cannot wait for the Alice section. It's going to be the best ever. And I like the theme from Kingdom Hearts 1 better than Kingdom Hearts 2, even though Christopher disagrees. And Happy New Year as well. You'll be busy until after the New Year. You're busy all the time, Diana. Merry Christmas. You celebrate Yule. And you don't care if someone wishes you Merry Christmas. Thank you. I appreciate that. Happy Yule. And I'll see you all after the holidays. I hope they're wonderful. And good luck on your reading and goals and everything for the new year. You can do it. I believe in you. Oh, that sounds like so much fun. I hope you play some awesome stuff. I'm sure you will. Good night.